This is Suspenders Unbuttoned, a podcast where friends talk with friends about TV, movies, and books.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie, and we're excited to welcome director Terry Ingram.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Terry.
Thanks for having me on.
We're so happy to have you here. We knew when we met you in Chicago at Rama that we would love to have you on as a guest. So much we could talk about, but not just that, but we just really enjoyed meeting you and Ruby. So thank you for being here.
Rama was a wonderful weekend. That was so fun to be invited to that. Yeah, it certainly was.
Yeah. That was special.
It was. Had you ever been to a fan event like that before?
No, not like that. I've been to one a very, very long time ago on a show where I worked on La Femme Nikita back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I was at a conference. But, so I've got to decline this call. Okay.
You're fine.
Perfect.
I know that was exciting.
Yeah, so that when working on that show, it was a different kind of thing, but it was all about fans and asking questions. You're sitting on, but nothing as elaborate as what we just did.
Yeah, no, the gals who run Rama, Gabrielle and Sarah, know how to throw a beautiful weekend.
They sure did. Loved it.
It was so fun. And then, not only did we get to watch two movies with the directors, it was, and the stars, right?
Right.
We also had the opportunity to mix and mingle with all the talent that was there. So that makes it just extra special when you can just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
And not just wait in line, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Memorable. Plus the facilities were stunning. That Christmas tree, oh man.
Yeah. Right?
Right? The pictures. We've all got good pictures in front of the Christmas tree, right?
It was astonishing. Yeah, we did it about 2:00 in the morning.
So much fun. So much fun. But the exciting thing is this weekend, your movie of this round of Wedding Veil trilogies is airing this weekend, right?
Saturday.
Yep, the Wedding Veil Inspiration. And this is the one that will be starring Autumn Reeser and Paolo Bernardini.
Yep.
Awesome. So you directed the first three. That's
correct. I've been involved since the very beginning and working with Beth and Lisa, my producers. And it was quite a journey to actually come up with the idea and for them to try to piece together how you get those three actresses in the same movies, one stars in their own, and try to schedule all that.
Right.
And then to throw it in the middle of the first three was to go, well, let's go to Bulgaria, and then we'll go to Venice, and we'll go to Burano, and that was incredible. And Autumn and I kept pinching ourselves. How did we manage to get to be the ones that got to shoot in Venice?
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah. And when this round came around, they came so fast and so furious. They were greenlit very quickly. And the movies needed to be shot back to back. And so one director couldn't do all three. And I was busy shooting Three Men and a Baby when they started prep on. When Peter started prep on number 4.
Right.
So, and then 5 I was available. I did 5. And while I was shooting 5, Beth Grossberg had to go to Bulgaria and Greece because they were prepping the last one.
Wow.
And so they just kind of all in top of each other.
Yeah. That's a lot. Well, congratulations, by the way, on you started 2022 with a bang with the Wedding Veil trilogy and the numbers they brought in. And then you ended it with Three Wise Men and a Baby, which broke a lot of records too. So congratulations. That must feel really nice. to have your projects be
It
sold
was,
out?
it's kind of golden. I mean, the numbers that came out of the wedding veils were we hadn't seen before.
Right. Those were very unexpected. Like,
well, Lacey Chabert,
right,
right.
Right.
And then you put Alice and Autumn in the same movie, and then we felt maybe we had a concept that could work, but it exploded. That first film, and they all just held. The night that they aired all three of them in one night, crazy, and then they did it again this year to bring us up to the new one last weekend.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty special. And three men, and that came out of nowhere for me. It was a very last minute decision. Producer that I've worked with many times said, I've just got this project and I'd love you to read it, and we want to start in a week. And I read it, and this movie made me laugh.
Oh, for sure.
It made me laugh, many, openly laugh. And I called him right away and said, okay, we got to do this. We got to do this. Now, I'd only worked with Tyler, not the other two.
Right.
So Paul and Andrew didn't know me at all. But Tyler and I have known each other since he was 13. I directed a series which Tyler was on when he was 13. That's
spectacular. Right? What series was that?
It was called Amazon.
Yeah.
And it was a show about people who crash in the middle of the Amazon, and they run into a group of people that speak Old English. And they're the descendants of a boat crash from the 1400s. And and Tyler played this 13-year-old in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And so when we pieced it together while we were doing a movie, Time to Come Home for Christmas, I think, anyway, we pieced it together that we had worked together, because I didn't recognize him. 20 years gone by.
Right.
And he went, "Oh, you're the guy that made me get really close to the Black Panther, aren't you?" Yep, I am. Now I remember you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And the guy who put the snake in the water. And I went,
Yep. And he remembers that like yesterday.
Oh yeah. So Tyler and I have now done we did another Lacey film together. Wedding, no, it wasn't a wedding thing. It was
the Veil movie, Winter and Veil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Winter and Veil, yeah.
So much fun to do.
Yeah.
That was a sweet film.
That's a favorite of a lot of people.
When they had the opportunity, and Tyler said, "Well, Terry's available. We got to get it," and he was supportive in me getting in and getting this project. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not only did you get to do the first movie where you had the three lead, ladies, and then you got to do the three lead guys too. So that's a lot of fun. This was new for Hallmark, and I think you guys just did it right.
Oh, well, we started off with a fantastic script.
Yeah.
Kim and Paul created such a beautiful script to play with. And then when the three of us got together, we realized that we could outdo each other when it came to the comedy, and we had to back off sometimes. But then, we've all had enough experience in working in Hallmark to go, when do you go too far?
Right.
My one advice from my executive was, be careful of the slapstick. Just be careful. Okay, we got it. And so we knew when to back off. We knew when we had something and when we went too far, because we could certainly go too far.
Right. But it played so well on the screen, and there was just like those little moments all the time. Was it Clark across the street, or I mean, like, those things just played so well.
Well, Matt Hamilton, that part was written for Matt. He's a friend of Paul's, and the second Paul said to me, like Matt Hamilton said, "Of course you do." Yeah. And I'd worked with Matt. I know. I saw it right away. It was spot on. Right.
It was perfect, and you all felt like that the references to the old classic movies, right? It was just, it was a fun movie. But what made it so great was it wasn't just that it was funny and it was the three guys. It had this like beautiful emotional family story that went along with it. And so you got both ends.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we're doing a Hallmark movie.
Mm-hmm.
We always have to find the heart,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so that was what was so lovely about it, is that we always went back to and grounded it, and so that the comedy came out of the love of the brothers for each other and how much they dislike each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got conflict, but in the middle of it there was a story and a well felt story that played. And, I've got to give the guys credit. The scene in the car, in the minivan, man,
yeah, no, and it was
the little moments of just being with the baby. The baby, it's such an unknown. I've worked with children before over my career, and of course you get twins. And I actually auditioned these twins, which it was a fun process to have there was a room full of twins and with their moms and their dads, and I had to choose twins for the babies, right?
Right. How do you know who to pick?
Well, part of it was have a conversation with the parents.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do this?
Yeah.
What is in it for you? And the mother, who was the mother of the girls that we used, she worked in care for elderly.
Mm-hmm.
And when she got pregnant, she couldn't work there. She had to take care of her babies, but she was such a giving person, so she wanted to give some more, and maybe this is the way she could do it with her children. And the two girls were so different, identical twins, and one was full of vinegar, and the other one was all smiles. And I'm like, okay, we've got a little bit of both here. And so, you could see that in performances with the children, which was crazy that they could perform.
Yeah.
They were great, and the guys were great with, when they had the baby actually in the scenes, the guys were so good with them. I mean, you already have Andrew, who's got small kids, you've already got that working for you. But it's just they did great, and it was the baby helped you really connect to the guys, right? And help them focus on one thing. It made the storyline super fun. So I think my favorite thing I heard was one of my coworkers said, who doesn't watch very many Hallmark movies, said to me, that might be my favorite Christmas movie of any Christmas movie.
Wow.
So, that was fun.
Andrew was the child whisperer.
Yeah.
It's not a shocker. Yeah.
No,
right.
I mean,
they were, we couldn't get one to settle down. He said, give me a few minutes. And he took this little girl, walked off set. 10 minutes later, came back, all chilled out, shot her scene.
Yep.
And then Tyler stepped up and it shows in performances and just little touches and little moments. And there were scenes that we shot because we had a stand-in doll. And I remember we were doing a scene, and I wasn't on the baby, so therefore you use the doll.
Right.
And Tyler looked at me and went, I think I work better if I have the baby.
Oh.
So look, we got time to do it. And I brought one of the girls in and sat her down, and yes, sure enough, he went another layer deeper.
Love that.
Babies do that to you, though, don't they? They just tap into that softer side. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Love that. So when you did Three Wise Men and a Baby, and you did The Wedding Veil, did you know for both of those that those were very different than what you'd done before? Like, you're like, these are different projects. I like them.
Yes, I did. Going into them, definitely, because I read them, and they weren't the boy meets girl from the country, goes to the big city, or the opposite, and you do the romance. that wasn't happening in 3 Men and a Baby. There was no romance.
Right.
There was kind of, but it
Yeah.
wasn't what was driving it.
No.
Right? Which was so exciting and it's new ground for the network. And
Right.
you know, I've done a lot of movies for them over the years, and it was so nice to spread a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
I felt the same with the Terry Hatcher film that I did in the summer,
Right.
where
Right.
she was, you know, a woman dealing with her age.
Right.
How do we deal with our, you know, turning a certain age
Mhm.
and dealing with my daughter who's 23 who wants to get married to another woman? Now, how do we, you know, they're spreading themselves out, and
Right.
there are subject matters that like to be dealt with and are real.
Mhm.
And you know, that's I'm very happy that that's happening.
Yeah. They're more. It's more interesting to watch too when we we know where it's going to go. Like with some
Yes.
beautiful ending. We don't know the path so much anymore, and I think we're really loving that. And then I think the wedding veil, by coming around for a second round, we have married couples now.
Which I love.
Something we just don't see.
Yeah.
Well, we have scenes in bedrooms or
Yeah.
scenes
Yeah.
upstairs, and there's already tenderness from the first frame.
Right.
There's already a relationship that, you know, what's going to happen to the relationship because you're starting up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, last week's film started off with a rose.
Right. Right.
Lovely, right?
Lovely. Right.
And well, you'll see what happens on Saturday with mine, but it's, you know, you already know that you've got a happy couple to begin with.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right.
So how's this snake out to be another story?
Right.
You know, what's the B story that's going to be coming into this?
Right.
Mhm.
Because life is a journey. It's not it's not just an endpoint. There's a journey through the whole thing.
Definitely, yeah.
Exactly.
And it's also at least for this next one for me, it's emotionally there's some deeper territory that has to be dealt with, which is
I love
Wait
that.
to see it.
you know,
So the first one filmed in Europe for Autumn Reeser and
Yes.
Paulo. This one, where did this one film?
in Victoria.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, the whole the Bulgaria one, the whole movie intention was to shoot it in Italy, but cost prohibitive to
Right.
shoot the
Right.
entire film there. So we shot in Sofia and in Bulgaria, and then we were going to Verano, which is a little island outside of Venice. That
I've been there.
you've been there, you know, it's
Yeah,
beautiful. There
it
are
is.
there are 14 lace shops there. Right.
Mhm.
So cool.
And the little funny story about what happened in production is while we were there, we realized that we were flying there with the crew on a Monday. We shoot Tuesday, Wednesday, take Thursday off, and fly back Friday. And I asked, why are we taking Thursday off? This is because the flights for the airline we're using is way, way cheaper if we fly back on Friday. And I said, then what are we going to do Thursday? And they said,
Yeah.
well, it would be a day off. And I went, oh.
No.
So I quickly found 7 pages I could shoot in Venice because that's where everybody was staying.
Right.
And I ended up creating that moment in there. And we shot a bunch of 7 pages in Venice, which was never on the slate.
So which
That's a fun
pages?
story.
Which pages? What did you shoot there? The added.
There was a scene at a cafe sitting beside a canal.
Yep.
There's a scene where she does a phone call in St. Martha's Square.
Yep.
There's the end of the movie where they're at night and they're trying to say goodbye.
Yes.
Was shot there, and when they first meet and she's trying to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
That was shot.
Yeah.
All of that was shot in Venice.
That's fun. That's a fun tidbit. Yeah, that opening scene is just kind of fun, anyways, because everyone's in a line and she's like,
Yeah. Right.
Get the ticket, and Paulo comes in. No, that's good. I like that. Well, that's a fun little tidbit from that
I love
previous one. So this one has them. They're really not in. You shot in Victoria, but they're not actually in Canada, are they?
No, no, 'cause she teaches, and if you in the first one, she's a teacher from
Yeah.
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah, yeah. And he was at the end. He was going to open a lace shop
In New York.
In New York.
That's
But the
correct.
previews are telling us Chicago. So.
We've already seen the
Yeah.
previews.
What can I say?
And Paulo would not tell us anything.
And he's a good boy.
He's like a master of changing.
Paulo is such a treat to work with. He's such a
He
gentleman.
was
and
lovely
a
to meet.
funny human being.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very
Yeah,
sweet.
Who's lovely to chat with, and talked so much about enjoying filming these two films. So as a director, so we've seen, so you have like 40 Hallmark films or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I was like trying to count as I was going down.
Just keep scrolling.
Just keep scrolling. When we are looking at this film on Saturday, tell us about a scene that you particularly like the way it is from a director's point of view. You don't have to give anything away. Just got to think about it for a minute.
It's always my favorite question.
Well, see, there's the challenges with these films and the wedding veils is the phone calls,
right?
Because they're like sisters, they're best friends, and they live in different cities, so they're always
on the phone. Yeah.
So it's coming up with a way to shoot the phone calls, and there's a moment in the film where there's a video phone call that's quite cute and special, and you'll know it when you see it.
Okay.
And it'll make you go, "Aw." And yeah, that's one of my favorite bits in it, really.
I love that. So it's interesting because Peter Benson almost answered something very, very similar, is like trying to make it look like the gals are in different places. And he was like, at one point, Autumn's literally walking in this downpour. I thought she was going to wash away, but it was perfect because it looked like she was someplace different, right?
Yeah, I know the street corner she was on. But yeah, oh boy, it rained that day.
Yeah. He was just like, it was raining so hard, like so hard.
Yeah. What was nice about doing those two films back to back was that I was able to use some continuity at sets. So, so the house that they shot before in was still available to me. So I was able to go in and shoot a little bit in the house.
Okay.
Her, Allison's office, we kept it dressed, and I was able to do a little bit in her office to keep that continuity together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because normally these things get spread apart. Because when you're doing a Hallmark movie, they're one-offs. You don't have standing sets. You're not in the studio. You rent your spaces and hope you can get back to them. Like they were lucky that they were able to get back into the same Italian restaurant that we shot in number 1.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You don't know. You write it and you kind of hope, and then
it
could be under new management and go, we don't want you here.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's kind of fun to see that continuity, because much of your audience will be the same people. They're going to recognize from last week's film. They're going to know that they're going to know that space, right? So that's kind of fun that you are able to do that and bring that through.
Well, we have very, very loyal fans.
Right. Yeah. No, the fan base.
Notice everything.
Right. Yeah. The fan base is amazing. They're pretty fun, and they're really enjoying these series of films, which is something kind of new. I mean, there have been series on Hallmark, Chesapeake Shores, When Calls a Heart, there's been a variety of
delivered. Yeah.
Yep. Signed, Sealed, Delivered was a series and a round of movies.
Movie series. Yeah.
Good Witch certainly have been a round of series, and they've got new ones coming, but these is a little different. It's like a group of films and then the continuation. Can you see this continuing again next year?
I hope so. It would be nice if you could. I don't know. It's really up to the network if they feel if it's something they want to pursue. And I can't really, answer for them.
Right.
Right.
I would love to see it happen. I think there's room to make them continue. I mean, the first time we got the three ladies together was magic.
Mhm.
We were the very first time that because they kind of knew each other from, but they never worked together.
Right.
Right. And they sat around a table and introduced themselves and went, boom, we're tight right from the beginning. They're so supportive of each other. Yeah, you
gotta love that. And I think people like after last week's are like, okay, now we're ready to see we're ready to see Avery and Peter and their minivan, and like where that's gonna go. And I feel like after Saturday there's gonna be something we're gonna be ready to see this couple do next too, right?
Right.
And then the next week I feel like it's gonna be the same. So people are already hollering for another round. So
right.
For sure.
Well, it'll be the fans that'll ask for it, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to go back really quick to the scenes where the girls are FaceTiming or on the phone, specifically FaceTiming, because we've heard from other actors that usually when you're FaceTiming, you're, talking to a baseball or something. So tell us a little bit, like, how do you get those scenes filmed? And tell us a little bit about how you make the magic happen for that.
Well, it's extremely tricky. I mean, sometimes you're fortunate enough that they're both around on the same day, so that at least they can run the words together, right? So they know what the reaction is going to be, but that they're not always there. So you're ended up having someone on set reading the off-camera dialogue, and they're just they're professionals. They've been doing it for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So you're just playing the phone like we're doing a Zoom meeting right now. And sometimes you decide that let's just make it an ordinary phone call because you want to move.
Right.
It's hard to do a FaceTime call walking.
Right.
It's okay to watch them walk, but then let's see it on the phone. Now you're trying to watch it on a phone as you're going. It gets a little messy. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So not really talking to a ball on a stick.
somebody's there talking.
Somebody's on set getting to read some lines. Well, that's super fun. Some people have been asking, do they ever so the three ladies are friends, and we all have those friend groups, and then like if it's my girlfriends and like now our guys are friends, or if it's my husband's guy friends, now we know all the girls. You ever foresee them throwing everybody together in a movie?
That would be great.
It would be fun.
It would be great fun.
It'd be like a vacation movie. It'd have to be like a vacation movie.
Yeah, we've tried, and it was certainly bantered about to try to do it. But it was just the logistics of
scheduling,
living in Rome, and Kevin is always doing One Calls a Heart.
He's always doing.
Victor is working constantly, so it's hard enough to get the three leading ladies together for a week to shoot their scenes, and then the logistics of trying to get all six of them together. It would be fantastic.
It'd be fun though. It'd be really good.
We're all in on that though. So.
We are. We're all like, let's go. Let's make it like a vacation movie.
We're like just the three husbands, and then like Paulo's idea was that the ladies go off on vacation and leave the
guys to themselves.
Sounds like a golf weekend. Sounds perfect.
We'll sing. Paulo sings. They got the babies. That would be good. That would be good. No, just so much potential. I just think people see the potential of continuing these films. We'll see, huh?
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I do.
I think people would be excited to see something like that.
Definitely.
Right. Noah, is there something in this movie that us as viewers could look for, like a little Easter egg or a particular something in a scene or anything that you really like? Little hidden thing, anything.
Wow. There's a young actress in this show, Casey Roll, and just watch what she does.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She's a piece of magic.
That's lovely. That's fun to discover somebody new like that.
What is her name again?
I believe Casey. It's her first Hallmark film.
Casey.
And yeah, she's extremely talented and
Okay.
lovely to watch.
We'll have to look if they ever put up the cast sheet. They haven't put up the poster or the cast sheet yet. So they're like, where's the poster?
They're keeping it a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's this weekend. Okay, so Sheila in the comments wants to know, was there anything that was particularly challenging to shoot about this movie? So we know that those FaceTime calls are challenging. Was there anything else?
It's usually because we shoot them in 15 days, right? And so, and because the ladies had just finished doing the first one, number 4, so we had them all in the country. So before they got away, it was like, now let's schedule all of their stuff right in the first week.
Wow.
So our first week was packed, and Paulo had just gotten off a plane. There was some mess up with his flights, and he I don't know, I think it took him 30 hours or something.
Yep.
Yeah, he said that.
Poor guy shows up with no sleep, and I put him through a crazy first day. I just held on to him and supported him all day long and reminded him where he was and what was going on, and we got through it. But the jet lag just about killed him. You know? And so that was the hardest part for us, was just getting through that first week, making sure we had everything together. And what it did to us is that we're in a house that we selected to be Emma's house, and because of that schedule, we had to go from the house and go out of the house, go shoot something else, and then come back to the house, and then go shoot something else, and then come back to the house. So we went to the house 3 times.
Oh,
so it was finding somebody who was willing to give up their home, not only for a week of shooting, but we're going to use it over the next 3 weeks, but we're coming and going and coming and going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we were fortunate enough to find the right homeowners and the right people who understood our predicament and where we had to go, and they were lovely, and the house worked really well for us. But that was a challenge. That was a huge challenge for us. Yeah.
So how you bring up a question for me? How do you go about finding? I mean, I know you have location scouts, but how do you get people's houses? Like, is there like a group in Vancouver that says, like, I'm willing to give up my house, and you go through it all?
We have we have the film commission.
Okay.
And people, once you've used your house, you can put it onto the listing so that you become something that you could look up.
Yep.
And the same thing goes for Victoria, where we were shooting the film. So there's already, a booklet of these are houses that we know that we can go to that are open to us filming. And we also, I'll talk to my location manager before we start prep. And, this is what I'm looking for. So these kind of homes, and they'll send a scout out. We'll literally put pamphlets and notices in people's doors. Shooting in your neighborhood, would you be interested? Because we were looking for a particular house. And out of that, you win some. And we did in this case, we won. They'd never had filming before, and they were interested in it. Right? On the opposite end of the scenario is what happened on 3 Men and a Baby, is that we had a house that was all set up and ready to go. And because it was a lot of shooting, the neighbors decided that they didn't want us there.
Oh.
So we had already done our tech survey, our second last day of prep, and we were like, we've lost the house. So we had to find another house on Friday, and we were shooting it the following Monday.
Wow.
So because of those lists, we went to a house that was a known entity. People had filmed in it before, and we went to them and said, and I literally had no time at all to go, yes, let's make this work. And there was challenges in that because the interior of that house was not the exterior of the house in Three Men Baby. Those were two different houses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you get one look from the outside and one look from the inside.
So trying to two transitions from walking out of the living room and walking out the front door, and then walking back from the front door and into the living room, and they weren't the same house, right?
Well, you know what? The Brady Bunch did the same thing. So
they did.
They did, and here we are. We're still fine, right? So, as a director, what are some of the issues you have to overcome when you're shooting in a house? Because these spaces are often not okay. That house that last weekend's movie, that house is huge, but most houses are not that big, right?
That's correct. And so you have to. You always end up finding a house a little larger than what the pay scale is for the people who live in it, because you need room for a dolly with a 300-foot camera on it, right, and a crew. And that's so you end up looking for homes that gives you enough room and enough space, and windows that allow you to light from the outside.
Yep.
There's a lot of logistical things about it. Not only just the outside frame of this looks right. Now, for me, thinking as a cinematographer, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that happens in the front of the house. Well, I want to make sure it's on the right side of the street. I don't want direct sunlight on the front of the house all the time.
Yeah.
Backlight on the house. It would make life a lot easier for me. So it's like, I'm sorry, this house is beautiful, but it's on the wrong side of the street. Let's look for another house.
My house would work. The sun is not on the front side.
Right.
The next one can be in Minnesota.
No one's shooting here. There's too much snow. It actually looks like wintertime Christmas, but no one wants that.
Yeah, we do Christmas movies in the summer. Come on.
Yeah.
Correct. Nobody wants that. People shoot here in the summer. That's if you're going to shoot in Minnesota, they shoot in the summer, right? Yeah. No, that's really interesting that it makes sense to me that you're going to need a bigger space because you're not going to use all the space for what you want to shoot. And I just trying to get all the equipment in the house and everything. And
all the people on set.
Does that?
Well, you need a place to go. You need, and you want open. You'd like to find open spaces and that you can shoot in. Tight little rooms don't allow you to move the camera. Homes with open kitchen and dining room allows you depth, and there's windows to light through. You try to find those things. Right? But it also has to have the character that speaks to the characters that you want to put in the house.
Right.
Which was a challenge for us for this last thing for Paulo and Emma. It was like, we wanted a house that had some character to it, but we also didn't want a house that was too big, because once we got into some big houses, just said, okay, this doesn't work. They were too big. They would have been fun to shoot in, but it as a viewer takes you out of the film to go, oh, come on, you're not making that much money out of lakes, so let's find some reality. Right?
Right? No, I mean, I love that kind of perspective, right? You like when the space looks right.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
You do, and you feel it right away.
Right.
And on the opposite end, even though they were remodeling a house last weekend, you couldn't have a tiny house. Like the whole premise on that couple was they're rich, right? So, right. So you had to have that big, really cool house. But it was old, so that was the right fit. That was like, it needs work.
That was a massive house. That was in
that balcony. When I talk, my husband's like, "You can't have a kid on that balcony. The slots are too big." the engineering comes out. But then I couldn't unsee it. But I'm like, he's right. Kids can fall through. But that house was amazing.
Movie magic, Julie.
Right? But then, like those smaller intimate spaces, like Three Wise Men and a Baby, I think, my favorite scenes are just around the table, and you just felt like you're like right at the table, right? And that's in a regular house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very normal sized dining room.
Right.
But because it had that back sitting room, it gave me depth behind.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I love those scenes with Mom. Margaret was astonishing.
She was fun to watch.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
Oh, your kitty came to visit. What's your kitty's name?
That's Paris.
Hi, Paris.
It's beautiful. Paris can come visit on the podcast anytime.
Anytime.
No, like those scenes were so good, and you just felt like you were at a normal kitchen table with a family, and that they've been doing those things around that table since they were small boys, right? Like you like it's the same round and around that's been going on since they were little, right?
Mom was amazing. There are a few takes that we got. She just said enough and yelled at them, and it was fantastic. She became Mom really really quickly. It's just like, okay, you guys are being 8. Very funny.
No, that was great, and I will say at Round Drama, you guys did a panel and we watched the movie. Tyler had control of the movie, and it was wonderful to hear about those things after the panel, because it was fun to hear them talk about filming around the table and just the timing of things and stuff, because that was that between that and the scene in the car were my favorite scenes, and so it was fun to hear your guys' point of views about those, and so like I'm looking forward to seeing like what you choose for this weekend to see in this movie now, like how their space will be like. We know lace making, these aren't people running an entire museum. These are lace makers, and so that's fun.
And then we also have such a good idea of Emma's style that you have to imagine that her home is going to portray that as well, like a little boho.
Well, right, and so we definitely gave that a great deal of thought with my production designer, who's done all of these wedding veils except for the ones that happened in Europe.
Yeah.
And Trevor has, we talked about that a lot, and went over the pieces of furniture and curtains and colors and textures and whatnot that said Emma, but also because it's also his house, we wanted to how do we bring a bit of modern Italian into the place?
Yeah, right, because it needs to like reflect a little bit, right?
Yeah. We have a comment here from Lisa, and she says, Terry, tell them how magical it was to have it suddenly start to snow when we were shooting the wedding. A gift from the universe.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Well, because we were shooting in a space that you could see the outside, and I happened to have that camera on a crane, and out of nowhere, we got little. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. You can't plan that stuff. Well, you can, but
not
the same though. It's not. It's more magical when it happens naturally.
Well, yeah, everybody felt it at the same moment. It was great.
And it was an indoor wedding, and we're seeing it on the outside, so that's a little different too. I feel like we get a lot of outdoor weddings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's pretty sweet. You'll enjoy it.
I'm sure we will. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that you're like, I happen to have a camera on a crane. You never know when you're going to need a camera on a crane, right?
That's right.
Always. Go ahead, Julie.
No, you go. I'm just like, that's just spectacular. Like, I haven't had one on crane, so I just powered that up. And so did you, as soon as it started snowing, then did you were like, let's film, right?
Yeah, well, we were shooting establishing shots of the building, and it was just luck. And You take
It was
advantage of
the veil. It was the magic of the veil.
it. It sure was. Yeah.
I wanted to kind of bring it back for a second about Rama Drama and watching Three Wise Men and a Baby with the audience. And how was that for you as the director? Did it make it like a lot more special because everybody loves it
What
so
it
much?
did,
Right
because we
there.
never get that. You
Yeah.
know, when you're making TV movies, you never
Right.
get to sit in the house.
Right.
And both Ruby and I were lucky enough to be there that weekend.
Yes.
And to watch both of our films in the house.
There she is.
Yes. Hey, Ruby.
Hi, ladies.
How are you?
Look how tan you are.
Let Terry keep answering the question, though. I just thought Rama Drama was a great moment.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a perfect question. So,
yeah, it was the immediate response. The little things, the little pieces that you put in, the little dabbles, little jewels that you put in, hope people respond to it. And every one of them, people laughed or chuckled and they got it. Or cried.
Yeah.
And it was such an immediate response. And so, yeah, that was really special. I'd love to be able to do that more often. And
because we had
I'm sure you felt the same thing.
It's such a gift. I think the only time directors ever get to see that is in episodic. They will usually halfway through a season, they will do a screener of one episode to show the crew, only the crew, what they've done. Because halfway through a season, you're so exhausted, you need something to keep you going. So if there's that pride of presence in your work that they can leverage, that's what they do. But that's the only time a director, in my experience, has ever gotten to see a film, other than people that do big features where they screen for test audiences. You never get this experience. It's unheard of, and we're both in awe. So
I'm going to say, as a viewer, doing these, watching the movies, the premieres at these events has been one of the most fun experiences to watch with a group like that and have everyone reacting at the same time has been so much fun. So Ruby's movie, A Fabled Holiday, was the premiere gala event for that night. And so we got to watch that and we got to premiere that. That was before it even aired on Hallmark. And so we hadn't seen it before. And it was amazing to be there with everyone and watch literally this fairy tale unfold before us while we were there. It was so much fun. And there was just like those magic moments. Lindsay Sterling is in that movie too. And no, it was just so much fun. I think you're right. We should do this more often.
I agree.
I do think the audience gets something else out of it too when they see it in a collective environment they're experiencing with other passionate viewers or passionate Hallmark fans. There's a camaraderie. It's like, I don't know very many people that watch Hallmark movies sitting alone at home. They invite their besties over, their siblings, or they might give me a bottle of wine. But most people aren't watching it by themselves. Well, along with their Kleenex box. It's I think it's definitely magnified. The passion for the films are magnified when you experience it with any number of people, but especially several hundred.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole nother, it's a whole nother feeling. Well, first of all, your movie, we got to watch it in gowns. That was fun, right?
All dressed up.
Magical. We were all dressed up. Red carpet right before. So it was already magical. And then we got to experience it with all these fans. But like, you're right. For me, I'm watching them when I'm sneaking away from my kids or when my kids go to bed and my husband's not watching them with me 99.9% of the time. So it's me. So getting to sit there with like your friends and all these other people that get the little jokes and they, follow the actors like you do, it just makes it really special.
We had chose to sit at the very back of the room so that we could see the audience react.
Mhm.
instead of hearing it and thinking, should I turn around and look?
Right.
And see who,
That was
you
smart.
could watch people's shoulders. You could watch them, you could watch them put an arm around a friend. You could, see this. You could see the tissue come out. Like all of that was such, we'll call it a privilege to have experience and to know that as a storyteller, you evoked emotions in somebody and brought them through something that had a positive conclusion. And for us, at the end of the experience, a number of people that came up and talked about how we had changed their lives through the stories we tell and how they could find a connection in different people in both of our stories for that particular weekend, but how they could connect, what resonated for them, what was shifting something they were waiting to shift and it was now the right thing, and they could see the motivation for themselves. That's very powerful. And you don't get that even if you read all the blogs. You don't experience that, even if people are, messaging you on Instagram, which happens to both of us. You don't get the same in your space. Like, thank you, you just changed my life. Which I'm in awe that we have the power to impact people's lives that way. And you have to hold it so carefully because we do make a difference, and you have to do it so thoughtfully.
It's a great what a great feeling that must be for you, but I also understand that it's also a great responsibility where you want to really treat it, like you said, gentle. So thank you both for that.
You hope that the stories you get offered to tell, or that you can seek out, or that you can write yourself, are stories that do improve the way we see the world and the way we all reflect as a whole on making the world a kinder, gentler place.
No, and I think the group watching, like we had done one premiere in the summer, and we knew we were doing your premiere. I didn't quite know how the rewatch would go, and it had its own new spin, and it was even more fun. Like I think watching with a group of people like that just. And it's not like watching at a movie theater where everyone's quiet and doesn't say anything. It's like the opposite. It's like everyone's really into it. It's so much fun to do those movies as a group. It's become our favorite thing at these events.
Well, then we need to do more of them.
I agree.
It's pretty much our favorite moment of last year too. So,
it really just was so much fun. And then just to be able to make connections, like we were able to talk with you guys. And my fun story is I actually sat next to Ruby during that movie. And at one point, Ryan Pavy's character talks about being on a date, and all they wanted to know was hear about medications. And as a clinical pharmacist, I literally put my head down because it just resonated so closely. And then Ruby leans over and pats my back. Oh, that is just like my.
One of the hardest things we go through as a director is that we want to be literal. We want to be honest to what actually happens out there in the world. And a writer or a producer or a studio may say, "Oh, that's nice, but that's not what we want. We want to suspend that belief. We want to either tighten that conversation up, or we don't want it to be such a downer conversation."
No, it's perfect. It was spectacular.
So we have to swallow that little moment of, okay, I get the suspension of disbelief, and hopefully there's only a handful of people out there like Julie who are going to go.
No, it was perfect for me though. It was
most people are just going to stay so engaged in the heartfelt part of the story that the little things that we can't quite adjust aren't going to bump to you.
Right. Literally, I'm messaging my entire crew. It's like, watch Saturday night. You will know the moment, because it was very specific. It was a very specific moment that just hits all of us, and we loved it. They were all like, "Oh my gosh, the medications!" So then my phone Saturday night, when it was airing on Hallmark, started blowing up for my friends. All going hilarious.
That's fantastic.
So they did it. She did it right, Julie, right?
Yeah, you did it perfect.
A lot of times Julie's very critical of it.
No,
it happens.
But this one, she agreed.
Actually, the medicine piece, I'm going to say this. The medicine pieces in this, Ryan Pavy's character is a doctor. There's not a ton of medicine pieces. You're just like, that's what he does. But the medicine pieces were actually done correctly. So somebody, whoever was your person, did that right.
There were two people involved in that. There were myself and Ryan Pavy.
Yeah.
Ryan refuses to say things that make him sound stupid. And I fully support nobody looking stupid.
Right.
So when you get something that is more technical in a script, on a big budget project, you'd have a technical supervisor that read mail all of that. You have medical technicians, you have, fireman technicians, whatever the nature of the show is. Within the Hallmark structure, you have to vet it, because sometimes the writer writes from a place of not complete knowledge of what that topic is. So as a director, you go in and you pull those pieces out and you go, does this make sense?
Right.
And if you're lucky enough, such as my case, Ryan is a detail fiend for those things. And especially since he was playing a doctor, we both met in the middle with that information. Went, okay, this is great.
Right.
But sometimes it's just you as the director. Sometimes your props person might come up and say, I can't make that medication work or this gadget work because the language of it is not honest.
Right.
So you're relying on different people, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you. In this particular format, it comes down to you as the director, to validate all of those words.
Yeah.
Along with everything else you're doing.
Right.
No pressure.
I mean, I work in critical care, so we're like pretty critical about those things. So actually, a lot of times it's just like, it's glanced over, but the little bit that was there was like really correct. And we actually find that like really like, we're like, wait, they did it right. It's like,
I hope that Ryan is out there listening, because it'll make him so happy to know.
Perfect.
That his effort landed that way. And I'll make sure I let him know as well.
Yeah. Let him know that we were thinking that.
Absolutely.
Definitely. What do you say? Should we do a little game, Julie?
Yeah, let's play a little game. Well, not really a game.
We need to really figure out a word for that.
No, we are going to ask. We just have a few things so people can get to know you a little bit better. So let's first start with a fun fact. Or can we spill that Ruby's going to come back?
Yes.
She's going to come back for a podcast. So we'll start with favorites, and then you'll come back for more. So, and then, so it's not really a game. It's like we ask you your favorites and you tell us what it is.
To know you questions.
Yeah. So this first one just sends everyone we have on here kind of a little bit like they don't know how to answer. What is your favorite movie?
In the Hallmark franchise or just in the world? And
you can give a couple. You can give a few.
The Princess Bride.
Oh, geez, yes.
Princess Bride. It has every single thing you need to go on the roller coaster of emotions, to learn to feel smart, to feel dumb, to feel courageous, to find your biggest, bravest heart, to feel impassioned, to feel challenged, scared, come out of it all.
Yeah.
It's inconceivable to think of any other movie.
It's inconceivable.
There are Russes. Everyone needs a good Russ. Roted of unusual sizes. I knew we got along for a reason. I know. Farm Boy.
Others are like, but that one stands like.
Farm
really.
Boy. My son got AP extra credit because he knew the answer, the bonus answer at his AP chemistry exam was, what is the powder in the movie? And he's like, what is the powder? It's iocane powder. Iocane. I raised my children well.
Kind of movie you just want to dress up and watch.
Yes.
There are theaters here in Vancouver where they screen certain movies and the audience is expected to come dressed up, and that is one of them.
Oh, that's fun.
I have yet to go because I'm always working on
Let's go together. Let's go.
Right?
I'm
going to shoot you a message.
Okay, then I'll show up to Vancouver. I've never been. So
oh my God.
We need our passports, Julie. What about you, Terry? Do you have a favorite?
I'd have to say Blade Runner.
Gosh, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Oh my gosh.
It's a sci-fi film that still is very current today.
It's very relevant.
And it's the way it deals with the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
It's even more relevant now because there are actually AI.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It actually has a deeper story that runs through it that, like, the further you get out, the more you, like, understand it. Like,
yeah.
Right? All right. And your puppy's name is?
This is Enzo.
Hi.
I'm best friends
Oh
with
my
the cat.
gosh, you guys have the best pets. We already
They
met
both
Paris.
woken up from a nap and they're like, I think it must be close to dinner time.
Yeah.
That's what they're both prowling around.
They wanted to crash.
Okay, so we have Princess Bride and Blade Runner. These are outstanding. Well, I love hearing people's like what they actually say, you know, when they come through. It's kind of
It's
fun.
always fun. What about a favorite comfort TV show? Or maybe it's a show you're just into right now. However you want to answer.
Well, Yellowstone, but
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
not really comfort.
Yeah. Yellowstone.
No.
Beth Button, she's like my favorite.
Okay, so I have a completely obscure one that I don't think Terry's watched. And I found it last year when my mother passed away and I oddly needed some comfort in life.
Mhm.
And I was never a fan of Ricky Gervais. And I am now a complete diehard for the rest of my life fan after watching Afterlife.
Okay.
Oh,
I have
okay.
not seen it.
It is blunt,
Yeah.
but it's funny. It's full of heart. It's brave. It's courageous. It's sad. And at the end of it, on every episode, he's made himself a little bit better as a human. And I have to cheerlead anything that does that.
Yeah.
Love that.
I'll put it on the list for sure.
Yeah, put it on the list. Add it to the list.
It's a half hour black comedy, and black comedy is definitely my favorite genre.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You'll see in
Super
both my
fun.
picks there's comedy. That's what I want to do.
All right. The next one is favorite food, healthy and indulgent.
Well, we're in the process right now of cooking a big Mexican dinner for friends tonight. So
Ooh.
Yum.
Marinated the chicken about
about
3
5
hours.
hours.
5
4
hours.
hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
My
gonna
favorite.
We
smell
love to
delicious.
cook. So if we're not working, we're cooking. And if we have the chance, doesn't matter what night of the week it is, we have people over.
I love that.
that's
Yeah,
Always a
we're
party.
all about sharing food, which is to me the same as sharing love. So
Yeah.
I
That's what we
love that.
we eat healthy when we're not having dinner parties because we have to balance it somehow.
Right.
Mexican is one of my favorite to cook for a party because there's so many variations and options. Everybody can find something.
And we just back from our vacation. So
You're inspired.
we said Mexican for
4 weeks.
4 weeks. So we are definitely inspired.
Having withdrawals.
Yes.
A little bit. Yeah.
Love that.
We just like to cook. I don't think we have a favorite cuisine to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And we very rarely make the same thing twice, even if it's exceptional. We like to learn, and
Okay.
this is part of being a creative person. I think
Yeah.
we just like to get in the kitchen and go, "What do we have? What are we making tonight?" Maybe we run out and get a few things, but for the most part, we're like, "What's happening?"
She has more spices in the cupboard. I have no idea what's in there. It's crazy.
I love that.
Easily 100 different spices. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Spectacular.
I can see that,
Spectacular.
yeah.
It's a bit of a running joke in our world.
You're the spicy one.
This
I can't pronounce it, but you have it. Okay, great.
Yeah. We already knew you were the spicy one, though. We've met you in person.
That's true.
We know that.
That's a good thing.
is so fun.
Amazing.
Okay, what about when you're not cooking or directing? Do you have a favorite activity or hobby that you like to do?
Well,
Together.
It could be together or
Yeah.
separate.
We have a sailboat called the Lost and Found, which we renamed when we found each other.
Oh,
I love that.
that's sweet.
Yeah, and we
That's-
sail if we're not. And during the summer, we sail almost every weekend. And again, in the humans that we are, we very rarely go out on our sailboat alone.
Yeah.
We know that we're privileged to have one, and it's very rarely just the two of us, or the three if I count the dog, because he goes too. The cat
I
does too.
love that.
The cat go?
I
Yeah,
love the
they both come out on the boat. Yeah, I would say that's
Need
our
pictures.
favorite.
I think so.
Yeah,
It used to be skiing and boarding, but
yeah. No, we just our sail, and we even sailed in the winter. We were yesterday bemoaning the fact that we didn't plan it well enough because we just gotten home and we should have been sailing yesterday. So
Oh, I love that. I love spending time on the water. I'm in Minnesota, and we lakes, not ocean, but lots of lakes, and so on the water is a very common thing here.
Sailboats are peaceful. We get out there and we turn the motor off, and
Sounds
sometimes we don't talk,
amazing.
sometimes we just spitball whatever creative stuff's going through our heads, but it's just us and the wind and the boat, and
It sounds magical. Actually, it just sounds absolutely magical.
It sounds like a movie. Just saying.
It sounds like a movie.
yeah, our life has a few movies in it. We just have to find the time to write them. So,
well, we'll be watching if you do, because this sounds magical.
For sure.
Right? Wait, what is the name of your boat?
Lost and Found.
I believe that's the name of the movie.
It is. We
Right?
started it. We just haven't finished it. So.
Right? Okay, that's amazing. All right, let's finish up with what is your music? So, favorite band or singer?
Canadian band for me, Blue Rodeo.
Hands down. Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny you asked this question though, because as we were leaving for this holiday, we were talking about if we got stranded, what would be the top 10 albums we would have with us.
Oh, I want to hear this.
We had a list of 20, and I won't remember what they all are, but they were everything from Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life, to David Bowie. Like it was our music.
David Bowie had a couple of amazing albums.
Oh my goodness! But Elton John's in there, Billy Joel's in there, Supertramp is in there.
Supertramp.
It was an extensive.
Right. And it's switched. We have
Neil Diamond's in there for sure.
For sure. I literally have my computer on top of a stack of albums right here. So like you're listing off albums that are literally below my computer. Billy Joel Glasshouses is here.
In my Billy Joel universe, that's my favorite.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I even have a little weird things in. There's a little Adam Ant in there, and so
I work with Adam Ant.
What?
Yep. He did a La Femme Nikita many years ago.
I think the music we play most at home though would be. I think we play more Fleetwood Mac than anything else.
Oh yeah.
An album on at home.
Yeah, probably.
It's either Neil Diamond or Fleetwood Mac.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little landslide goes a long ways for me.
Oh, right?
I can play that on guitar even because I wanted to learn how to pick, so I learned landslide. So.
We need to hang out.
We need to hang out.
All these 3 guitars, the wall you can't see.
Right? You have a wall of guitars. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
When are we going to Vancouver?
Where am I going?
Yes. Okay. Oh, beautiful acoustic guitars. What kind of guitars?
We have several. Terry has an Ovation. I have a Larrabee, which is a Canadian-made guitar.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Some of them are just cheaper guitars that anybody can pick up and we don't care about.
Yeah, my first guitar was an Applause, which is by Ovation. And
nice.
Yeah, and then my new guitar is a Martin. Yeah, so
I don't have one.
So
my husband has something.
You can start with the ukulele, Sarah. It'll be fun.
Right. You know what? I did buy one for my daughter for her birthday last year, and she just said, "I think I should learn how to play it."
So have you been lifetime guitar players?
I'm not going to call myself a guitar player. I'm going to call myself a lifetime picker.
Okay, I like that. Terry, lifetime guitar player?
Yeah, I started when I was quite young, and then my dad asked me, how many chords do you know? And I said, I don't know, about 18 or 20. He said, well, Johnny Cash only knew 4, so he pulled the plug on the lessons.
That's so funny. So I as an older teen got a guitar to play in my youth group, so I only knew literally like the handful of open chords, and then I didn't play my guitar for literally 30 years, and then 2 years ago decided to try to pick it up again, and it's like, oh, I can't even strum, this is awful. And then started playing a little bit more, and then I was like, and now I need a new guitar, and I can play a little bit, but self-taught and at this point in my life is not the same as learning when you're young. So
no, that's where I'm at. There's a 30-year gap.
Okay. See, you and I need to try.
I know, we have to hang out. The first thing I ever learned to play on my guitar was Fernando by ABBA. I could play it on the guitar and the piano.
Yo, yes, first of all, Ella, like,
There you go.
Because I just thought it was such a romantic song.
Yeah.
And the other one I learned to play both on the guitar and the piano. Was Runs to a Cowboy by Glenn Campbell.
I love that. I love that. Well, it's I'm like, whatever. How we could probably talk on that. I feel like we need
Well, yes. So we'll continue this because we're setting up something with you, Ruby. I just have to respond to your email. It's been a busy day. And Terry, you can crash that one too. Please do.
Yeah, Terry, crash that one because your film will have shown, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, that will be a lot of fun, and we can come back to some of those questions that we asked, right?
Definitely.
Things we looked for. It's been wonderful having you guys on.
Thank you very much.
Hang on with us after the podcast for a minute. We'll say goodbye off air.
Okay.
And so let's say goodbye to everyone, and we'll see you next time, whenever that is.
Thanks to all the fans. We love you all.
Thanks for
Bye.
watching, everyone.